welcome to episode 13 of the Vancouver Warriors podcast. It's myself, it's Marcus Clarich, it's Owen Grant, and our next guest is a veteran of the National Lacrosse League who's gearing up to play in his 235th career game, all of which, aside from 2 years, have come with this franchise dating back to his rookie season in 2010, which we discussed a little bit last week. He's also, as of Saturday night, second in the league's all-time penalty minutes with 669 after a spirited tilt with Steve Priolo of the Buffalo Bandits, passing Sean Evans, and now he's just 17 penalty minutes away from passing Billy D. Smith for the most penalty minutes of all time. Matt Beers, welcome to the Vancouver Warriors podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, so you've been brought up a few times on this show, but I want to go back to one of our very early episodes because you were brought up, and Marcus Clarich may have.
Can you remind me? Yeah, I don't really. Know what you're talking about.
Maybe called him old. He's maybe said a few other things as well. I want to get your live reaction to that comment a handful of weeks ago.
My reaction or Marcus's reaction?
Both. Your perspective.
So I think Marcus is a little bit sad because he loses a lot in cards, and I was a little bit upset on air that he called me a cheater, which I stand by, hand on my chest. I've never cheated in cards. What he meant to call me is a bit of a scumbag because we throw that term around very lightly on our team, but I like to table talk. I like to try and convince him to do things. He might have been convinced to stay in a game, which maybe knocked him out in his rookie year. I'll let you talk to that, but that is more what he meant. And I was a little bit hurt because I said, listen, that is, you don't throw that around lightly, the word cheater. And I just wanted you to maybe publicly apologize. It'd be great.
Yeah, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to Matthew.
Full name.
Definitely used the wrong word, but I did apologize to him right when I saw him at the airport. It was scumbag, not cheater. He doesn't cheat. But he definitely is a scumbag when it comes to cards. He takes advantage of the young guys. I'll never forget, we're in Colorado. Me, Beersy, and Baller, I believe. And there's 3 people left. I did not have to play. And he's convincing me Baller's going to win if I play. I play, he wins. Somehow, he's been taking money off me for years. But whatever, I'm over it now. I don't even care.
OG, as a spectator of all of this, what's your response?
Yeah, everything they said's accurate. Beersy, scumbag, but good card player, knows the game well.
Not a cheater though, for the record. Not a cheater.
No cheater.
Beersy's classic line is, if you don't know how to play, it only costs you $20 to learn.
Okay, well, let's get into your climb up this penalty minutes leaderboard a little bit here, because I remember hearing Brad Challoner say a bunch of weeks ago that he's been sitting on this stat for you all year long. He's been waiting to get this nugget out on the air. And before the game against Buffalo, throughout the year, you had only collected 4 penalty minutes, which pretty unheard of in the career of Matt Beers, I would say. Currently, you're on pace for 12 penalty minutes, which would be your lowest total in that stat line since 2023 when you were with Saskatchewan. Was this climb up this ladder, was this something you were aware of heading into this season?
Yeah, it's been talked about, I think, more by the guys around the fire hall or my teammates that might be a little more excited than I was. Funny enough, actually, when I played for Team Canada, the guy that was the most excited about it was Priolo. Like, he thought it was really cool, and I just laughed. I'm like, well, that just means I'm undisciplined. Like, it's not a great stat to carry. But I also played in an era when it was a lot different. Like, my first game I ever played in this league, I was 20 years old, and I had 2 fights, and I was actually kicked out of that game. Like, it was just a different era back then. Like, there was a lot more fighting. And I think things have calmed down a little bit, where it's not as common, you'd say, but I still think there's a place for it in the game. And, I never try and get penalties. It's more just the style I play, but these things have a way of just accumulating.
I was going to ask if you remember your first penalty. You had 2 tilts in your first game.
I had a goal and 2 fights, and I got kicked out, yeah.
Hell of a night. What a stat line.
Eventful. What about the lower penalty minutes this year specifically? Somebody actually asked me about this recently, and they asked, like, if there's something that's changed with your game. And, like, I didn't really know how to answer the question because I don't really think anything has really changed with your game. Like, is the lower penalty minutes this season, was that something intentional? Is there something you can attribute it to, or is just like kind of luck of the draw?
Well, I figure if I didn't have the record yet, I can convince my wife for one more season. So, but in all seriousness, I think it's, like I said, I've never gone looking for it. If someone's run the goalie or someone's taking liberties in our team, a lot of times I'll be the first one to want to try and step up and have their back. And this year, you know, obviously we have someone like Subak who's a pretty tough customer in his own. That role's kind of been passed to him in a sense, but I just think the game has changed a little bit. Before it was a fight a game was pretty common, and now you don't really see that as often. But you know, I think we pride ourselves on team toughness, being hard to play against, being hard to get through the middle. You know, other than maybe some minor penalties like that, I think it's just more discipline to try and win games is the main focus.
So that fight against Steve Priolo, it was the 19th fight of your NLL career, but you've never been somebody, even going back to your junior days, that has decided to ever shy away from that aspect of the game, the overall toughness, I would say. When do you think that sort of fearless aspect of your game like really started to play a factor? Like, was it early in your junior days? Was it before that? Like, when do you see it?
Like for me, honestly, like when I was in junior, I would rather fight because I saw some guys get really beat up bad. And for me, I knew I could protect myself. I could handle myself, and I kind of knew what I was doing. And after seeing some guys get knocked around pretty good, I would just rather do it on my own. Like, I think that's one of those things where I've never really been hurt too bad in a fight, being long and just kind of knowing what I'm doing. So it came from that, like wanting to protect my teammates and not wanting them to get hurt. And then I don't know how many fights I've been in just because guys have grazed T-Rich in junior, and I just would be the first one, to drop my gloves. But back then, if we were the same player, like Owen and I were the same skill level, but I could beat him up, I'd probably get that spot on the team too. So that was a bit of the era I grew up in.
Well, I mean, speaking of OG, he also got into a bit of a tilt that game. You had a pretty good view of that. How do you think he did in his first career fight?
You know what? Dilksy and I were in the box. We're like, oh no, like we didn't want to see him get hurt. Like he's our golden child on the back end. Like don't want to see him break a hand or because Weiss can go. Like he's a pretty tough customer. And then he was throwing bombs from the upper deck and, you know, those big uppercuts, just if one landed, it was just going to knock his head off. So we felt a lot better when he was taking control of the situation. And then seeing Weisser's eye after, I definitely feel that Owen he got his first victory in his first fight. So good on him.
Now, I think it's safe to say, no offense, Marcus, but I don't really think Marcus would be much of a fighter if it came to it. However,
He's a lover.
If he were to have the opportunity to drop the gloves at some point, as an experienced fighter yourself, what do you think his tactic would have to be for success?
Slap and scratch? No. I think Marcus, like if Marcus is a very strong kid, he's very long, and I think that matters a lot when you want to get into it. I think if he held someone out and he actually, maybe protected his chin a little bit, I think he'd do okay.
I think I'd get ruined.
I agree. Okay, so now for the two of you, there's so much talk about how many leaders there are on this Warriors team. There's so many like current and past captains in that locker room. What kind of a leader specifically is Matt Beers, would you say?
Go ahead. I mean, since he first came on the team, I think the first time we ever met, he made sure to come up to me, shake my hand. Hey, I'm Matt Beers. I'll be playing with you this year, and I'm very excited. So it just means a lot. As a young guy, I think I was probably 21 when I first started playing with him, and it was pretty cool that one of the best defenders in the league, and that's been the captain in Vancouver for a while, and then went to Saskatchewan, came up to me like that. So he's helped me a lot too. I texted him this year. He helped me with the Warriors Academy coaching, so I really appreciate it. I'm trying to be a better coach, and he gave me the opportunity. So I think he's one of the best leaders you can have in the league, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I could say a lot, but like I'll be brief. But you have one conversation with the guy, and you can just tell immediately he's a leader by nature. The way he carries himself, the way he takes time to build relationships with everyone he meets. He's just a very genuine dude, and he can lead by example. He can lead vocally, physically. He can do it all. He's a good dude. We're happy to have him.
Considering, it was good timing you show up with the handlebar mustache fully intact here. I would say that visually, Matt Beers comes across as a pretty scary individual,
Terrifying.
Especially when on the floor. Give us something that people might not commonly know about Matt Beers.
He's a softie. Like realistically, he is a softie. He loves
He is a
giving me
softie.
hugs every time he sees me, and he's just like, yeah, I would just say softie.
That's a good one. He is a softie.
All right, Matt. Well, a more recent development in the past couple of years is that you have now hopped behind the bench with the Junior A Langley Thunder. And it served as a reminder, as back in your junior days as a defender, you won a Minto Cup with the Coquitlam Adanacs. Kurt Malowski was the head coach of that team at the time. And he's your head coach again now, 16 years removed from that Minto Cup in 2010. When you came back to this team in 2024, you saw you're being reunited with Kurt. What was your overall reaction to that, and how much has Kurt changed, if at all, in that time that you've been away?
How much has he changed as a coach?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he's actually lightened up a little bit. I mean, crazy would be probably the right way to describe it. You know, the way he coached back in the day, like he was so worried about. There's a funny story. We were in the Minto Cup. We were preparing for it's 2010, one of our practices, and this like 12-year-old kid's running around. He could have been younger, maybe 10, just running around the arena. I think his brother or sister were playing in the arena adjacent. Kurt stops practice to kick the kid out. Like he's not stealing signals from us. He's not.
Thinks he's a spy.
And you know, but that was just how he was wired. Like no one was in on practice, like making sure all his secrets were, you know, kept safe. Everything's written down. Like anyone's going to try and hack his computer, but like everything's handwritten paper. I think his book actually got taken one time, which is pretty funny that ended up happening. But he's very quirky in the sense that he's meticulous, you know, with everything he does. But that passion and that commitment, I think, is what makes him such a good coach. So, you know, he's dropped a little bit of the quirks. The last time he actually coached against me, the elevator door opens and I'm like, am I good to come in? And he laughed. He's like, oh no, I've changed. Like rode the elevator down with him. You know, so he has lightened up a little bit in that sense, but you know, his drive, his passion, his knowledge has just grown exponentially. And I mean, he continues to be the best for a reason.
This summer, when you do return to Langley's bench, you'll now be coaching against Marcus as one of the assistant coaches with Burnaby.
Go Lakers.
What do you think it's going to be like to coach against him?
You know what? Marcus is someone who's, you know, I say he's an old soul. Like he was kind of like me when I was his age. I was always hanging out with the older guys. Like he's someone who's very poised. He's mature, although sometimes not. But I think he's going to be really good for those kids in Burnaby. And we had him actually out last year to help out a little bit with the Langley team and seeing, you know, his passion for wanting to coach and obviously his work with the academy. I just think it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, you're seeing familiar faces on the benches across from you, and it'll be some fun competition.
OG, considering you're now the only guy on this couch of the pro players that not actively coaching, aside from the Warriors Academy stuff, do you see a future where you hop behind the bench in some regard?
For like a junior team?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, right now it probably wouldn't work, just with like the travel for PLL and stuff like that in the summer, but eventually I would like to. Like my last year at junior, I got a new staff, so we got Riley O'Connor, Luke Magnan, Damon Edwards, Stephen Keogh would help out sometimes. So I thought it was like the coolest thing ever to have like active players on the bench, and they give you a total different perspective. So down the line, if I could do that, I think it'd be pretty fun.
Matt, I asked Keegan Ball this on one of the early episodes when we first started this show, and it was about the present day Warriors and maybe like how relieving or fulfilling it would feel to see this team become kind of a destination place that free agents want to come and sign to in the offseason, especially considering, you know, you were here for so long before, like you were here in the OG Stealth days as well. And, you know, there were some highs. There were also a lot of lows where it seemed like it was pretty tough to get some of those high-end players to come to town and want to play for Vancouver. And the interesting thing about that now is that you've also seen both sides of it, because you left to go play for the Rush and then got recruited to come back into Vancouver. How fulfilling is that? Like, what does that feel like to be a BC boy and see your hometown team become a destination place in the NLL?
Well, I think it's, you know, obviously a huge tip of the cap to the ownership and Kurt and what they've created. Like when we're playing at the LEC in Langley, and then you go to the Ball Arena in Colorado, like it just has a different vibe. You know, being in the big city, being in Vancouver, seen how we're treated, and then obviously, you have the coaching staff that can draw on those players just based off their merits and what they stand for. I think it really makes it a premier destination for people that not only want to play in front of their family and friends, but also have a chance to win. Because that was the one thing with all the draft picks that were traded away, with us trying to stay on top from our Washington days. When it came to Vancouver, there just wasn't the picks and wasn't the players that people wanted to, as a free agent, like maybe the later part of your career where you're looking to try and be competitive and win. You don't want to be a part of a rebuild. So I think, we have tremendous young players in Vancouver, but we also have a commitment to trying to win in front of our fans now. And then just add on top of that how unbelievable we're treated by the ownership. It really is a no-brainer for people that want to come play at home.
Sticking with Keegan Ball for a sec, he puts up another 2 points versus Buffalo last weekend. He currently sits just 4 points back from breaking his own franchise record that he set a year ago for most points in a single season, a record which is previously held by the trio of Colin Doyle, Reese Dutch, and Corey Small. I want to ask all three of you guys, what has it been like to watch this continued development of Keegan Ball over the past bunch of years? Marcus, maybe we'll start with you.
I think it's been pretty spectacular to watch. I already mentioned that we get to 0-2 comes to the shootings now in the morning, and we get to see him sort of pick apart Delbs at times. So it's pretty cool. And then you go into the games, and he makes it look so easy. And it's not even that he's shooting 15, 16 shots a game and getting 4 goals. He's finding everybody open whenever they're getting open, and his passing's phenomenal. He's been playing so well, and I think we're all happy to see it because of the guy he is. He's a phenomenal human being.
Yeah, I think it's so cool to see what he's doing, especially like if you know him and what kind of person he is and how much he puts into this, how much he cares, how much time. Like that guy watches probably more film than anybody, I'd say. He makes his own film clips. So just what he puts in, it's pretty cool to see what he's putting on display. But he's also just a fun player to watch. Like he's so smooth, he's so methodical. You can just tell he's thinking at an elite level the whole time.
You know what? I've actually been around long enough. I've seen Keegan cut from the NLL maybe twice, from junior once. Like his path wasn't linear. And I think that's the coolest thing about Keegan is he almost took that as a challenge to be better. And I think that's what's created him into such a good player. He's always learning. He's always trying to get better. Being such a selfless player and wanting better players to come in around him. Like there's not a lot of old guys that would want Curtis Dixon to be coming in and take 10 shots away from Keegan. But he wants to win. He welcomes the talent. He welcomes the challenge to play with someone of Curtis's caliber so we can get better, so he can get better, so the team can succeed. I just think like the kind of person he is all throughout his playing career and all the trials and tribulations he's had, like how can you not cheer for a guy like that? It's incredible. And not to mention off the floor, like one of the best people we have. It's really, really great guy.
Those previous 3 players that I mentioned, Colin Doyle, Reese Dutch, and Corey Small, Matt, those are guys that you have played with and against throughout your career. Do you notice any similarities between Keegan Ball and any of those guys?
Yeah, I think, Corey and Dutchie, they could shoot from the outside, just as good as anyone. Like their accuracy reminds me a lot of Keegan's. Like they can hit those spots. They can pull that shot short side, far side, and you can't really get a read on it as a goalie. And then Colin Doyle was so smart. Like the 2-man game that he would run, like it was, like these guys said, methodical. Like it was very, very much setting you up to do something, like putting you in a position so, he could just expose your back and bang around you. And that's what I think Curtis and Keegan are really good at is, them being so good. Like Colin does, you got to respect their outside game, but then they can also beat you on the inside as well. So I think Keegan's game has grown this year, to be honest, playing with Curtis. It's pretty cool to watch.
The Warriors are in the playoffs. We know that. You guys are clinched in. The clinching of a home playoff game in the first round, that is something that's still being worked on. It can happen if you guys get a win this week, but there also needs to be some other scenarios that go down for that to be the case. Matt, with you specifically, before last year, the last time that you had been in the playoffs was in 2017. How much did it mean for you to get back to the playoffs, but specifically to get back there with this organization?
Yeah, like if it was up to me, I would have never left. Like we don't have that long on this podcast, so we won't get into that. I think myself, the fans, the city, like they deserve this. And they've been supporting us since day one. We have people that have been coming out since the Vancouver Stealth days, and like they've put in a lot of years with multiple organizations in the city, and I think that, you know, when someone truly does win and get to the playoffs, like you do see the, you know, the everyday fan come out and support us, and then the fans that have been out here from the start to see them, and you know, like how happy they are, like I just think it makes us want to do good for them every time.
One thing that the Warriors have been, I mean, one of many things that the Warriors have been really good at this year is responding after a performance that maybe you guys aren't super excited about. And you guys are coming off of a performance from last week, which I know Kurt said in the post-game performance wasn't necessarily your guys' best, but you guys now have an opportunity against Halifax to try to right those wrongs a little bit. What kind of response should fans expect from you guys in this game, specifically against a team like Halifax, who is also a desperate group trying to, I mean, they've been playing playoff lacrosse for the past bunch of weeks, just trying to keep those dreams alive. Like, what kind of response should people expect from you guys?
We're going to the playoffs. Like, we got to be playing our best lacrosse, and I think no one's going to make excuses. You put it very nicely. We got our asses handed to us last week, and I don't think anybody in the room was happy about that. We were, you know, we were outplayed on pretty much every end of the floor. So you can see us respond this week in a very serious way. Like, we got to get up to playoff lacrosse, and we have 2 games left. One's a desperate team, one's a trap game. And we have to make sure those last 2 wins are going to come at home, because we want a home playoff game, and we want to make sure that we are firing on all cylinders in our home barn.
Nailed it. That time of year.
Okay, well, the next game coming up, it'll be Friday night. Note the start time here, everybody listening, because it's a 6 p.m. start, not the usual 7 p.m. here at Rogers Arena. You can catch the game on NLL Plus, TSN Plus, and ESPN Plus if you don't decide to come down, but I don't know why you wouldn't come down to the arena and check it out live. Jake's going to be on the call. Brad Challenger's going to be on the call. I'm going to be between the benches, guys.
No way.
So look out for some hard-hitting questions with this interview, you know.
That's your first time, or no?
First time between the benches, yeah.
Wow. You're going to do great, man.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Are you nervous?
Yeah, I am nervous. Thanks for bringing that up. It's okay. Matt, thanks for joining us for this episode. I know it's a long way to come from Maple Ridge, I think. Yeah, me too. A little bit of traffic on the way out here. Do want to end on one note, and kind of a bit of a somber note to end on, but it's something that's being talked about a ton in the lacrosse community right now, and that is what's going on with Hayden Berry and his family right now. In case anybody hasn't heard about it, he's a U15 player for the Ridge Meadows Burrards Minor Lacrosse Association. And unfortunately, a few weeks back, he was struck in the back of the net with a lacrosse ball just during a warm-up drill. And is in some pretty rough shape. A lot of you probably saw the clip of Kurt Malowski talking about a post-game versus Buffalo. Essentially, just needing a ton of support right now. If there are any financial means that you're able to donate, the Ridge Meadows Burrards have set up a way to donate. If you want to get any of the information, you can go straight to their Instagram page at RM Burrards. They've made a graphic. You can get all the instructions there. But if there's anything that you have to be able to donate, you can send them any amount of money to etransfer@rmburrards.com. And then just make sure you put in the little memo there, Hayden Berry support, so they know where that's going to. And there were also some shirts made kind of on his behalf as well by the company MVP. The shirts cost $20. 15 of those dollars go directly to Hayden. And from what I understand, you guys are going to be wearing those shirts during warm-ups on Friday night as well. So, yeah, a tough note to end on, but just want to make sure we get the message out about Hayden. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Vancouver Warriors podcast.